sorts of things and teaching me some of your language and that kind of stuff. But anyway, we'll deal with that in a minute. We'll see what happens with Elfi here in game number 2. It is going to be on Neo Planet S over in the top right hand side as our green Terran player. Let me just get rid of that. Is our Terran who, well, he went for a big push. Unfortunately, just didn't really have the perfect composition to deal with what Elfi had. Here in the top right, it is for Team 3D, NoName. And down at the bottom left-hand side is our blue... I don't know. You can teach me whatever. Teach me how to say Elfi is awesome. Teach me how to say that, alright? Down at the bottom left-hand side is our blue Protoss player. It is Elfi. See? You guys are cool. This is like... All of the really snowy places up in EU, up in the top section of Europe, I want to go to, like Sweden and Finland and Norway and even Iceland across to the. I know that's across to the side, but I want to go over to Iceland too. That looks like a really fun place. We'll see what Elfi does here. He, in previous games I've seen of Elfi, he does tend to favor just 2 base pushes. He can, it's not to say that he doesn't like to pick up a 3rd base, but I have seen him just do some really simple kind of 2 base pushes. Now, as I mentioned, it has been quite a while since I've seen Elfi's PVT, but just judging from that that game we just saw before where he was happy to go with the Stalker Colossus mixture, I think we'll probably see him play a nice, safe, standard game. One big facet about this particular map as we see NoName go for a what looks to be a Rax expand here. Yeah, he is. He's going to go for a Rax expand. Is that there is still quite a bit of surface area to protect, like down through the bottom side, which is why we see that pylon just here. We can also see through the middle sections where you can just sort of come across and drop into. You don't really see people drop this way. That's just kind of weird. I was just sort of pointing out there's lots of space to come through. Not as big as Whirlwind, but there is certainly a little bit of space to worry about there. So I would expect Elfi to play very similar to the previous game. We've got 2 in each of his gas, so he's going to go for a relatively fast expansion here. We'll see if he cancels the Zealot. I'll be interested. No, he's going to keep the Zealot alive. Alright, so he's going to keep the Zealot, bring that out. He's going to do a little bit of harassment here. The Warp Gate tech starts up as well. Alright, let me try. Hang on, I'll try and say in the chat in a second once I try and figure out what these guys are doing. So it is just going to be standard sort of Rax expansion. Meanwhile, for NoName, our Russian Terran player is going to go for a little bit of an economic play. Quite similar to the way that Elfi is playing here with his single gateway. A couple of units will move out. We've got a Zealot on its way across. A Sentry is going to follow up with the Zealot there. The Mothership Core also making its way across. And yeah, the Zealot push back for the moment as 3 Marines are prepared. A bunker is also there as well. And I would say things are just going to be very calm for the moment. So, hello and angry. 3rd Command Center for... Wow, that's actually interesting. That 3rd Command Center there for NoName. So he's feeling pretty confident in his play right here. But the Mothership Core will come through. So let's see. Elfi is awesome. Elfi on Matava. Is that right? Wait, how come you guys are saying different things? Are you guys like from... Is there different words based on different parts? Or is it just that some of you are from different places? If Elfi wins, I will go buy pizza and cola. I like it. That's a good idea there. Thank you, Spiro. I try my best. It's quite funny when you guys are like trying to teach me some of the various languages from some of the countries in Europe, and I'm like totally destroying it when I say it, whether it be because of my accent or just because I read it really badly. But yeah. It's I do my best. I do my best. Oh, that was a joke. Okay, Torilla Tavataan. Okay. So Elfi playing very similar style to the previous game. Just a Zealot sentries to protect his front door. Mothership Core. We'll probably see the gases go down right about now. At least, yep, he's going to get 1 gas. Does also have a couple of gateways inside the main. The Robo facility is all done, has cranked out an observer that is already making its way across the map as well. And meanwhile, for our Terran player, he has his third command center now switching into the orbital command, or is already done, and is going to have a lot of racks production very soon. This is the kind of point where, as a Protoss player, if Elfi identifies this, which is just going to be at the back, so it might be a little bit hard to spot. Actually, he will see it, but you know, around about sort of 2 to 3 minutes, the production capabilities of NoName is going to be crazy, because he's going to have a lot of SCVs out. He has triple mules. He's going to have all the gas in the world here as well. So it is going to sort of just give him a nice little time to ramp up and sort of prepare for a what could be a pretty sizable kind of attack. So we'll see what Elfi's going to do. Interestingly, some of his units are already making their way across. He's positioned the observer just to sit out to the side. It looks like, I'm just assuming he's just threatening here. He's trying to pretend that we've got some kind of 3-gate aggression coming out here from our Protoss player, when in actual fact he's just sort of sitting here. He's actually got nothing backing this up. There are no pylons. There are no you know, no large amounts of gateways or anything like that. And back at home, Elfi has just said, "That's cool. You know, you've made some extra bunkers, you pulled SCVs off the mineral line, even the mules came off the mineral line as well, and you've made extra bunkers for no reason at all." So that is a really, really good decision there from Elfi to come across and throw out some mind games. There you go, as mentioned in the chat there from Desor, is just a little bit of mind games from Elfi, just to say, I'm at your front door, but in actual fact, I'm not actually doing anything. So there is, it's given Elfi time, gives him time to say, alright, we've got +1 to armor, weapons, Colossi, extended thermal lance, all these cool things coming out here for our Protoss player. So he's going to be feeling relatively comfortable, and I think he's going to go for just a very similar play to the previous game. Whereas our Terran player, NoName, he's now making his way across. Combat shields just about to finish, +1 to weapons, is standard sort of timing that normally hits here. Around about sort of the 10 to 10:30, 11 minutes is when this kind of normal +1 attack hits. And Elfi does need to be careful. You don't want to be too far out. What are these units doing here? They are going to catch the medevacs a little bit out of position there. Interestingly, no dropping on top of that. I don't know, I kind of may have thought that NoName may have wanted to try and drop directly on top of that. It's only some sentries and a single Colossus. If he drops them out and then stims up the units, he may have been able to kill them off. But either way, he's going to head back home. Drops out a few of these units here. He does not know that the third Nexus is here. Factory just scouting out. Wants to see what's going on. The world's biggest observer, and most expensive observer as well, I might add. We can see now that NoName has taken his third base. Forces a cancel on the third of Elfi for the moment. Good positioning here by NoName. Drops off a single Marine. Is now going to head inside the main. And Elfi, a little bit unprotected. I'm a little bit surprised about this. Has been caught out of position here. Where is the mothership core? We have it a little bit out of position. Where is the photon overcharge? Not going to activate. There it is. Does activate the photon overcharge. Stalkers, Colossi, all come through. Will be defending the main base here. Do hold the attack out for now. And, you know, just nothing really done to Elfi there, but this is sort of the reverse of what Elfi was doing before, where NoName is just sort of saying, well, I could be attacking right now, but what I'm really doing is just sort of getting my third base up. We're going to have a lot of SCVs here. We've got 53 SCVs on the field. A few mules have been dropped down here at this base as well, and for NoName, well, this is just giving him time to get more upgrades out. +2 to weapons, +1 to armor on the way. Ghost Academy, again, very quick Ghost Academy from our Terran player here. Double starports prepared just in case there are a lot of Colossi, as we saw in the previous game. But Elfi, I think he is about to make his big push on the third base. But yet again, there is no proxy pylon or anything like that. There is there's no probes coming along. So I'm not exactly sure if this is the best idea from Elfi. But he does have 3 Colossi. He has some good control of his force fields here, and bringing out the SCVs, soaking up quite a lot of the Colossi damage there. This is going to be an interesting fight, because it looks as if Elfi is going to be able to cut down quite a lot of the forces on the ground, but he is not going to be able to reinforce. He has no way to resupply this attack, and that is kind of the part that worried me about this kind of push from Elfi here. He loses all of his Colossi. The Vikings, while their numbers have been reduced to just 2, now Elfi is on the back foot here. He only has a few Zealots back at home. We can see that NoName is going to keep an eye on what's going on. He knows that there's only a few Zealots here, and he is going to push in on this base and see what he can do. I don't think he's going to be able to kill off Elfi, but he certainly can make him work for the defense here. The Colossus comes across, the Mothership Core going to attack at the front. Colossus getting targeted down by those Marines. We can see the units being healed up, and that Time Warp has been incredibly useful there. The Stalkers target down the last of the Vikings, and as a couple more do come across, I think that NoName is going to be able to kill off that Colossus. He does so, and this could be very dangerous here for Elfi, but I mean, there are only a few more Marines and Marauders here. I mean, this is not going to be too bad in the end, but I think that Elfi is going to, he certainly will have learned his lesson there. We needed a proxy pylon, something like that going up, but you know, back at home we've got 5 gates prepared. He certainly could have done some kind of resupply, but wasn't actually in position to do so. So NoName, as he will have to back off here. There's just a bit too much for him to deal with, and it looks as if NoName has been able to do his damage, but now has lost some of his own units. So that doesn't look it sort of is not a great position for NoName. I kind of feel like both players just sort of overstepping their bounds there. Elfi sort of came across here and sort of went for the attack, but I mean, he just sort of, he didn't have the power for it. He could push back on some of these units here, but then had to fall back very, very quickly there. So NoName is able to put himself in a pretty decent position right now. He's currently sitting up at 58 SCVs. He's mining away quite nicely here from his 3 bases. Lots of gas, lots of minerals coming in. Meanwhile, for Elfi, he's doing the same. He's got lots of probes out, 64 probes in total. His upgrades currently sitting at a lovely 202. It looks like a big double drop now coming into the natural base. Will need to be picked up and evacuated very quickly, but Elfi loses, NoName loses everything there. That is a pretty big victory there for Elfi, being able to snipe off that attack while losing very little himself, and that was pretty good. And in fact, it looks as if, well, NoName is yet again going to be forced on the back foot, and a little bit of a change in the composition here from Elfi. No more mass stalkers. We're going to go to a much more standard kind of style here, with the Zealots now coming out. Lots of Colossi, of course, very normal to see that kind of thing, but we do have Archons now being added in. So he is going to change things up just a tiny bit here. Is our Finnish Protoss player. Meanwhile, for NoName, we've got Vikings coming out. His units have 2-2 as well. 3-3 is, well, plus 3 on weapons has started. I'm not sure where armor is. He does have enough resources to He does have enough resources to get it started, but has not clicked on the A button just as of yet. So he's got lots of production coming out, lots of Marines, lots of Marauders now making their way out. Vikings are also on the way, and he is going to have a very sizable Viking fleet up in the air to try and deal with some of these Colossi. But now that Elfi has started to switch into the powerful Archon Zealot Templar mixture, this is going to be difficult for NoName to try and engage this, but he has again brought some SCVs. He's going to try and capitalize on this timing here. The natural base is now evacuated, and this is going to be an interesting fight here. I do not think that we will see our Terran player take this. The Vikings up at the front, taking down the Colossi very quickly, but at this point here, when there are so many Zealots on the ground, the medevac count is very low because NoName has spent quite a lot of his starport time trying to get those Vikings out. It looks as if Elfi is going to force all of this attack back. Even the Vikings have been taken out by the Archons, the Stalkers, and everything has been obliterated there by Elfi. The last of the bio units on the ground are now going to be removed. One, a Viking. Will he be able to take out the Colossus? This fella here, this big Colossus, is sitting here on 9 health, and that is a GG. Elfi with a 2-0 victory